9. Dun 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 dun. It's Terminator theme. Uh, I was able to introduce Himoto-chan and Natsume-kun to each other. As for what I can do next, that would be the analysis of the body of cyborg Potamus. I left the vampire girl with Waldo-kun, and I'll have them capture the fort together. I had already returned Felmina-chan to the demon territories and set her to work on arrangements for countermeasures. Once I'd placed those two in their posts, I entered the other dimension where I left Potamus's body for storage. There I began to dismantle the Pota body that was laid out. I feel like a doctor about to start an operation. Scalpel, as it were. I don't need a scalpel, though, and carefully begin dismantling using my hands. But just what is this body? It was beyond my expectations for it to be a full-body cyborg, though. My rough expectation was that it would use the elf flesh's body as a base, with various machine parts embedded here and there. But in fact, it's all machine parts except for the brain and some critical organs. Hey, this is particularly a Terminator. Even for me, the machines are outside my area of expertise, so I can't determine what the various functions are. Somehow or other, I can tell that this bit is life support, and these are motors and so on, but regarding the details such as the theory behind its operation, I have no idea. However, that only applies to the machine parts. The workings of the Magecraft-like features engraved in the machine parts is something that I do understand, since I'm a god after all. If these were straightforward machines, that would be what would be produced on straightforward machines like what would be produced on Earth, then I would have to study mechanical engineering from the basics, but for something produced by the elves to have no magecraft elements at all, it would feel like an absolute fraud, you know? If this hadn't had any of that, then I'd seriously cry. While taking apart the machines, I analyzed the magecraft carved into them. For now, I will ignore the purely mechanical machine parts. I can't understand what I don't understand, after all. Well, the completely mechanical parts with no magecraft are not actually important anyway. At worst, they could have nuclear weapons, right? Actually, maybe I shouldn't joke about that, huh? But, well, maybe probably it'll be okay. It doesn't have a small nuke installed for power, or so I hope. I continue with the dismantling even more carefully than before. This disassembly is almost completed. There's also the analysis show that this body does not have significant magecraft applied to it. Firstly, there is magecraft applied to enhance the hardness of the entire body. In status value terms, this would be a defensibility boost. Likewise, there's magecraft to raise the maneuverability. In status value terms, this would be offensive ability or speed. There's various other things built in it as well, but they're only either there to assist the above two magecrafts or things that are designed to be able to quickly activate simple offensive magecrafts. The only one which seems to have a high offensive ability is the one installed in the arm that wounded the vampire girl, which fired something like a laser beam, but it seems to be a combination of machine and magecraft, so unfortunately I don't understand the details. To put it plainly, the magecraft used within this body is nothing more than an imitation of the magecraft used by the system to give status values to the inhabitants of this world as if it was natural. This isn't certain, but I think that this body operates outside the system's assistance and doesn't receive the benefits of the status values. That is why the exterior was specifically strengthened. However, the degree of that strengthening is pretty decent. Putting aside the offensive ability, wouldn't the defensive ability reach something like 10,000 in status value terms? I myself don't receive the benefits of status values anymore, so this is nothing more than a guess, though. It sure is inconvenient not to be able to use appraisal, huh? Well, considering the time when it was able to contend with Vampire Girl in melee combat, it can be clearly seen that it has a considerable amount of combat ability, though. Even with that level of combat ability, it won't become a threat from my point of view. If they just have many of these, then it would probably be tough for Vampire Girl and Oni-kun, for instance, and for an ordinary soldiers, just to take them on one-on-one, it would probably be hopeless, though. The Demon King or I would be entirely out of reach. If you wanted to defeat the Demon King with these, then it'd be impossible unless you prepared more than 10,000 of them. Against me, no matter how many there are, it'd be a completely pointless, futile waste of time. However, that's only assuming that these aren't the elves' trump card. Considering the technological level of this body, from my perspective, it seems to be ancient. What served to kickstart my apotheosis was the underground ruins from the old world. In comparison to the technology applied to the robot army I saw there, there's almost no difference in the technology level applied to this potted body. And then the elves haven't developed beyond the magical technological level of the old world? No, I don't think that's the case. The proof of that is that this potty body was manufactured long ago. When I performed an analysis on the activated magecraft, the period of activation is easily more than 800 years. In other words, it means that this body has been in existence for at least 800 years. The brain might well have been replaced, though, so as it's practically the only living tissue within the body. It's better to think of this as an old metal body. I don't know the significance of it being used in this situation, though, but it is not a recent model. It was probably considered that this old world body would be able to manage, I guess. In practice, I guess it's at the level where it's hard to say whether or not Mara could beat it. I'm sure that Kuro has subordinates who could beat it, but I'm not including them in my calculations. Conclusion, the elves might be bad news. It's completely unknown how much they've progressed their technology since this body, but at the very least, this is the absolute minimum. If I get serious, then I don't think I could lose, but it might become a situation where I'm forced to consume more energy than expected. I want to avoid that as much as possible, though. Just one more thing to worry about. Yep. Oh, translator notes. But yeah, Terminator theme. That's how I knew. I looked at the title, I was like, I don't know what that is. Translator will tell me. So I scrolled down and yeah, translator theme. Dun 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 dun. Cool. Alright. Bye bye.